Spelling is our topic this week. Spelling is actually incredibly important because it is one of those foundational cornerstones for vocabulary, reading, and writing. Spelling comes up all throughout your entire life, right? If you can't spell, but you're writing an email or you're trying to put together a cover letter or something, you might come across as possibly less intelligent than maybe you think you are. So obviously it's very important that we instill great spelling with our kids. Well, spelling's kind of tricky to learn though, particularly with English, because English is kind of a dumb language in a lot of ways. Put your I's before E's, but there's exceptions, of course. And then sometimes it's pronounced mallet, but sometimes it's pronounced ballet because it's French. Well, really what I'm getting at is that it just requires a lot of reinforcement and practice to kind of get down some of these spelling fundamentals. Sometimes you just got to put in the reps, you know what I'm saying? So practicing spelling by just writing out words on a sheet of paper is delightfully boring. And so we here at Fair Game have a couple of awesome recommendations for you, the parent, the educator, the homeschooler, to help reinforce and practice and have a little bit of fun while you're doing it. So I've got two recommendations for you tonight. So first up, I've got Bananagrams. Now Bananagrams is a pretty popular game that comes in a lot of different forms. So right here I have Bananagrams Party because I wanted to pick the one that sounded the most fun. No, actually I do think this version is maybe the best of all the Bananagrams. In Bananagrams you've got this banana. You unlock the zipper and you've got a lot of letter tiles. Kind of like Scrabble tiles, right? If you play with the baseline rules, this is basically a speed spelling game, speed crossword, if you will. We've got a big pile of tiles right in the center of the table, and we're going to try to make a crossword using all of these letters as fast as possible. There are certain rules, like things that you have to shout in order to return letters that you don't want to use, and that gives your opponents a little bit of an advantage because they get to take a free tile from the center of the table. And then once you've used up all of your tiles, then you have to start shouting out words as you reach into the center of the table. And the goal is to use as many tiles as possible to create your crossword. So the faster you go, the more opportunities you have to dig into some of those tiles. I want to add that for Bananagrams Party, there are special tiles in here that have symbols on them, like a bomb or a stop sign or a clock. And all these different tiles are different like events and effects, so you can use the bomb to blow up someone else's word, for example. So I think this version is probably the most fun to play. If you're using it in an educational setting, you can probably get away with just the regular Bananagrams or the Bananagrams Double, which just comes with a whole bunch more tiles so you can get more people involved. So that game is just basically fun right off the bat, and just like Scrabble does, it encourages kids to expand their vocabulary. They get exposed to other words that people use. I think you can try to hone in on specific words. So for example, if you're homeschooling and this week you're trying to teach with your kids musical instruments. And so trumpet is one of the words that's on your list. For the purposes of your lesson, you might say that everyone needs to have at least 2 words on this week's list in their crossword. Or maybe you pull out the event tiles from this here baggie and you put them in their own separate pile. And when you spell a word that's on this week's spelling list, so you write out trumpet, then you get to take one of those tiles from the special like event tile area. So you can create some sort of incentive to focus in on whatever it is that your list comprises of this week or this month. My other recommendation for tonight is a wonderful, outstanding, genius game called Paperback. The theme of Paperback is that you are a novelist whose pseudonym is Paige Turner. Haha, I see what you did there. Paige Turner is getting paid by the letter to write her novels. And it's got this beautiful artwork on here. And in Paperback, you are collecting a pool of letters from which to build words round after round after round. The longer words that you write and the more letters that you can incorporate into your words on each hand that you play are going to let you get more cards, which means more diversity of letters and possibly better cards that have more letters on them. And so you can spell more and more longer, better words. I picked this game because this is one of those ones that encourages you to spell out longer words harder words because you're going to get more points. So like I said, you're going to start this game with a basic deck of cards. Use your basic Wheel of Fortune letters, you know, your R, S, T, L, and E or whatever. And your deck is also going to include some wild cards, which is where you're getting some of your vowels from early on. And it's got a nice little picture of Paige there. You are going to shuffle this starting deck up. You draw 5 cards. And you have to spell a word from those 5 cards. And that word is going to be rats. So I've got R, wild for A, we got wild for T, and S. You can see that I spelled out rats there. In the top corner of those cards, I've got a point here and a point here. So that gives me 2 cents to work with. I got paid for those 2 letters. I can spend those cents on other letters that are in the center of the table. For example, AN here costs 3 cents. So if I spell the word, I got to use 3 cents. I might take this AN and add it to my discard pile. At the end of my turn, I'm going to throw all my cards from my hand into the discard pile, draw a new hand of 5. You're going to draw through your deck pretty fast. So you'll take your old discard pile, shuffle it in, and then you've got a new stack of cards to work with, from which you draw another 5, and now all of a sudden you're off to the races because you are spelling fantastic words like antlers. I think I could do that. ANTLERS. Don't mind me. I'm just juggling cards in front of a camera here. So you spell out antlers, all of a sudden you're making more money because you've been able to score all of these cards. I got 5 cents now. Maybe I'm going to want to publish a book. And that is how you score points in this game. These go into your deck as well, but they don't count as letters. These are publications. And at the end of the game, you're going to get points based on how many publications you have in your deck. So that's kind of the aim of the game. You spell longer words, you get more of these publications, and you score points. So just like Bananagrams, you can focus in on specific vocabulary words if you would like to as part of some sort of lesson. Maybe you're homeschooling and you're doing a little bit of cross-disciplinary things. So your spelling list this week is based on what you're studying in social studies. So if you can spell out Great Wall or Eiffel Tower or something like that, then you're going to get bonus points because that's what we talked about earlier this morning. Sidebar, paperback is super fun and it's just a great like adult game. So I highly recommend it for that. And they say on the box it's good for ages about 10 and up. I think if you, again, you can go younger than that if you cut out some of those extra rules, I think, just to make sure that the game doesn't go too long. Because the base game is going to go about 45 minutes, which might be a little bit long for your 3rd and 4th graders. Oh my gosh, I did it again. I forgot to switch my camera back over. You just got to see my beautiful face here. I'd love some comments if you have thoughts on how to best incorporate these games as activities to reinforce spelling with the youngsters.